But there is a word from the Lord. Hallelujah. If you have your Bibles, if you would turn to Mark, the 8th chapter, verses 22 through 25. Mark, the 8th chapter, verses 22 through 25. And coming to Bethesda, they bring a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that he put his hands again upon his eyes and made him look up. And he was restored and saw every man clearly. I just want to talk for a few moments. I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now. Work with me. He brought a blind man unto Jesus. And I'm reminded of my own life. How I was brought to church. See, as preachers' kids, we didn't have options. We didn't have choices. We had to go. If Mom and Dad went, we had to go. So I was brought to church. Then I was told to get baptized. Didn't really understand the significance of it. Didn't really have a clear understanding, but I was going to the water. I looked up the word blind, and it means unable to see. Unable or unwilling to perceive or to understand. So like I said, I really didn't understand as to why I did certain things while in church. Came to church, clapped my hands, sung in the choir, even led a hymn and led a prayer, but still no relationship. In darkness, blind. I heard about God. I heard about Jesus. See, just because you're blind don't mean you can't hear. So I heard about it. 3 days in the grave, and he rose on that third day with all power in his hands. I heard that. My dad used to say, you can't really have a testimony unless you have a test. I heard about, him wearing shoes, and people always had shoes. Heard about being clothes, but always had clothes. So I really didn't understand, didn't really perceive as to who God or what God really was. Heard by church folk. Yes, Lord. Heard by people in the church, and I went to people and told them about certain situations that happened to me by church people, and it was like a slap in the face. So I went to other churches, went to other ministries, and I found out they were doing some of the things that I was doing. They were clapping, they were singing, they were shouting, they were praising, but still no relationship. In darkness. Something on the inside. See, when you have a true relationship with God, something on the inside should work on the outside. What should bring about change. But it wasn't until one Tuesday afternoon at noonday prayer here at the Tower of Power that I experienced God for myself. See, I came to him, I was hurt, I was dealing with some things at that particular time, didn't really understand as to why I had to go through those things. So I came to Jesus as I was weary, I was wounded, and I was sad. But even in that, I found God in the midst of everything that I was going through. I was blind. But under the teaching and the preaching of Pastor Watson, he broke it down so that even a little baby could understand. And I was able to understand and get knowledge and full understanding of God's word for myself. A relationship with God. Like I said, even a preacher's kid. I was blind. So now, being that I know God for myself, I can say I know him to be a deliverer. Because he delivered me. I know him to be a way out because I was involved in many accidents. And he brought a way out. I know him to be a bridge because in one of those accidents, I was on an icy bridge. It was snowing. Daddy told me to stay at home, but I went on anyway. And the car could have flipped over, and I managed to climb out of that window, and God was a bridge that I was able to walk over. Not flip over, but I was able to walk over that bridge. So I know it was nothing but God's grace and mercy and his hands being upon me. Some of us are like the two blind men by the roadside in Matthew 20, 29 through 34. We're just sitting and we're waiting. Waiting on God to do something. Waiting on the pastor to come lay hands on us. Here we are. Waiting on the man of God to say or tell us what we need to do. We're sitting and we're waiting. Come by here, Lord. Come by here. Oh, Lord. Come by here.